All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Wednesday evening. Another Knicks Fan TV and Bleacher Report simulcast. CP the Fanchise in the building and returning to the show. Our guy Sean Geddes, a.k.a. I Hate Sean, in the building. On today's show, we're going to put the bow on a barn burner in the Garden, man. After the Knicks lose 119 and 117 in overtime, we're going to close out with Sean's take on some of the late game execution in this game and what the Knicks need to do better. Plus, have the Knicks made a big change in terms of their strategy ahead of the playoffs? We're going to talk about some new revelations here, or some new developments rather, with the Knicks and how this could change their playoff trajectory. And finally, we're going to end with another segment of Worst Take. Shaq has been talking real greasy about the New York Knicks. We're going to hear what he has to say and react to it as well. Lock in, hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. Salute to everybody on the evening grind, on the evening shift. We here for you, man. Knicks Fan TV, the number one show for the fans, by the fans. This show is presented by DraftKings. So go to DraftKings.com or use the DraftKings Sportsbook and use our code KFTV to bet $5 for $200 in bonus bets instantly. All right, let's get into it. My guy, welcome back to the show, man. How you feeling, bro?
I'm honored to be here as always, man. Thank you. Shout out to you. Shout out to the platform, KFTV. Always an honor to be here.
Absolutely, man. 5 o'clock, salute to our Fanchise channel members in the chat as well. And if any of you that were trying to call in last night's show was hot. It was a hot topic, lots to discuss. Post-game, we could have went for 3 hours. But if we missed anybody who tried to call in yesterday and you want to get in on the Discord, go ahead and hit us up. Or if you want to weigh in either way, just go ahead and hit us up. Open forum. All right, Sean. 119-117. Knicks lose to the Celtics in overtime. Give me your overall thoughts on this loss to the world champs.
So I want to start off by saying, I'm big on not letting result eradicate process. And so just because it was a disappointing fact that we lost, I'm not going to act like the entire game was a loss in itself. I saw a lot that I liked. This team's been kicking us around all season, and we kind of showed, the ability and willingness to go out there and compete. I love seeing Cat come out super aggressive and taking it to him. I've believed all season they don't have anyone for Cat. And so for him to, be going right to the basket, he took one fadeaway on Drew Holiday I wasn't fond of, but otherwise he was really, finishing at the basket, attacking in attack mode. It was nice to see Jalen's jumper dropping. I thought OG did a great job on Jason Tatum. There's a lot that we can take away from this game that's good. And then on the other hand, down the stretch, we need to, as we're approaching the playoffs, I think it's very important. On the board last night, post-game powder, I wrote margins, because that game was lost in the margins. We shot 62% from the free throw line. We gave up way too many open threes. KP was 8 for 13 from 3, which isn't going to happen every game. But, at least 12 of those are probably wide open. So it's like you give them a lot of open shots and you might get burned. What else? I feel like, some turnovers we might have had down the stretch, letting Sam Hauser get a wide open layup in overtime. Just really small things, small tweaks. We won the rebounding battle, but I feel like we gave up some offensive rebounds that were unnecessary. I saw Peyton Pritchard get an offensive rebound over Josh Hart. Josh Hart has to get rid of this aversion he has to boxing out. I get that you don't like boxing out, whatever, but at times it's important. Peyton Pritchard should never get a rebound over you. And then so on times like that where the Celtics shoot too well and too frequently, to give them extra opportunities when you get a stop. When we get a stop, we got to be able to capitalize, get the rebound, secure the rebound, and end that possession. And a lot of times last night, probably for at least 14 to 17 points, we allowed them to get offensive rebounds they shouldn't have gotten, make kickouts, and now score for those possessions where we initially got stops. So I think if we're able to clean up those small things in the margins like that, I think that goes really well for us moving forward. I understand that Jaylen Brown didn't play the whole game, but also I heard he's not really necessarily too healthy. And there's not really going to be a lot of time for him to build that health back up as the playoffs approach. So whatever's going to happen, we're just going to have to go out there with it. But I liked what I saw with OG. I liked what I saw with how they can't deal with Cat. I already know they can't deal with Brunson. We didn't have OG have one of his strong games he's been having recently. Last night, unfortunately, it was 0 for 5 from 3. But I think that's more of an outlier than what we'll see from him in a series. I'm very confident in OG. Mikal was more aggressive. He took 15 shots. wasn't as aggressive as I'd like it to be. He dropped the ball out of bounds late in the game, but overall, I was satisfied with the play of the team. As far as the execution down the stretch, I don't feel like Josh Hart had to be in the game the last part of the fourth quarter. I think that a lot of their defense was ignoring him, and he was setting those high screens up top and popping, but nobody was worried about what he was. He wasn't a threat off of him popping. So I think either you got to get Deuce out there in that situation. So when Deuce sets that rub screen for Jalen and pops, the defense has to be concerned with that, and that's a viable option. I also, even more so, with the last 2.9 seconds, I don't understand why Josh was on the court, to be honest, and that's no slight to Josh. I love Josh Hart about as much as somebody could love a person or a player. But in that situation, we only need a bucket right there, 2.9 seconds. I think it makes more sense to have Deuce on the floor than Josh Hart, and I want to see the coach be able to make those small changes. I also didn't like the play that we ran in that situation because we didn't really run a play. We did the same. It was probably the same exact action from the Brooklyn Nets game where Jalen catches the ball in the corner and hits the game-winning three. But what do we have after Jalen can't get the ball in the corner? Like the Celtics took that away, and we've got to be able to plan for the fact that teams are going to be trying to take Jalen away. So what's the second option? Are we going to either use Jalen as a decoy to set something else up? Do we know what we're going to? I feel like once we couldn't get the ball to Jalen, nobody knew what to do. That's unacceptable on both the coach's part and the player's part. And then people are saying we should have fouled. I don't agree. I just think the OG shouldn't have played the drive.
Fouled Tatum. The Tatum three to put it into overtime. Just so I can be specific. Yeah.
Yes. My bad. People are saying we should have fouled Tatum. I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to fouling when you're up 3 with that much time on the clock, just because, like I said, we shot 62% from the free throw line. So if you foul Tatum with 10 seconds left, he makes both free throws and we're up by 1, and then we go to the line and we miss one, and now they have the same situation with a couple less seconds, and now it's a 2-point game. So I think you just got to play defense. But unfortunately, OG bit on the drive and allowed Tatum to make a great move and a great shot, and sometimes great players just make great shots. But at the end of the day, I will take my chances, especially with the way OG was guarding Tatum last night. I'll take my chances with OG guarding Tatum one-on-one if all we have to do is not give up a 3. And hopefully next time we don't get that 3 up. But, otherwise, how'd you feel about the game?
Yeah, exact same sentiments. It was a game of inches, and when you give the Celtics an inch, they're going to take a mile and kill you every time for your mistakes. And that was the difference. We could talk about the fact that this Celtics team, obviously being the champions, they are the favorites. They are better than the Knicks. But this was a winnable game. We could talk about the Knicks' deficiencies and the bench and da-da-da. This was a winnable game. They played a good enough game to win it. When you talk about winning the rebounding battle, the lower the turnovers, Karl-Anthony Towns, 32 and 14, Brunson looking well. Like, your 2 stars did very well in this game. You had enough to get it done. But where it comes down to the X's and O's and the execution down the stretch, they needed to be better. And that is where the champions are the champions, and sometimes the pretenders are the pretenders, because there was a calamity of errors that they made to close that game out. But the concerning thing is that, number one, a lot of these errors are repeat mistakes over the course of this season. And if you listen to the post-game press conference, it again indicates that they're not on the same page. Case in point, the player OG saying, I should have fouled. Coach is saying, I don't like fouling when the guy is in motion, because then you could foul him at shooting the 3 and make it even worse, which I do understand. But then on top of that, icing on the cake, you have Josh Hart saying, we weren't, both players and coaches, basically prepared to handle this situation. And this wasn't verbatim, but essentially what he's saying, they were not prepared, both players and coaches, and they did not know what they wanted to run after the timeout. So that is a concern to me, because these are repeat things happening all year long. The inbounds pass in overtime. You got 5 Knicks having a coffee break, and the Celtics are out there executing. You can't have that. They have to work for everything, and the Knicks gave them more opportunities to score. So that was very disappointing. On the Hart situation, I agree with you there, because if you look at the play, number one, Drew Holiday wasn't even guarding the inbound. So they're trying to take Jalen away, period, right? Or anybody for that matter. Number two, you have Hart out there who you can live with a desperation heave with 3 seconds. Number three, you had OG bring Tatum into the play, compounding the spacing, so that number 4, when you take your third best or third most reliable shot creator in Mikal Bridges, who's inbounding the ball, by the time he inbounds it and tries to get it back, he's got Jason Tatum behind him, he's got Drew Holiday in front of him, and wherever Derek White is roaming. So there was no, you know what I mean? With Brunson already bottled up, you got 3 seconds to make a play. It just was not executed well at all from the player standpoint and from the personnel standpoint. So there you had the loss. But look, I can understand your point in terms of not fouling, letting it play out. My counter to that was, Tatum was red hot in that fourth quarter, man. He had 16 points in that second half, 6 of 8 from the field. Spot up shooting, he was killing the Knicks. I get what you're saying, the fact that, they were shooting 62% from the free throw line, so no guarantees. The way he was killing them, I would have fouled there.
I don't blame you. And I'm not even saying that you're wrong. I think that at the end of the day, there's just a way, however people have a preference, whether with basketball. But I feel like he was absolutely frying Mikal Bridges. I don't know if it's something personal. I don't know what it is, because Mikal wasn't playing bad defense. He was there on all the shots. It just didn't matter. Tatum saw Mikal and he saw food. When it was OG, though, I think OG did a great job on him. And so I think if we're coming down and, Tatum has Jalen Brunson on him or Tatum has Mikal on him, my decision to foul might be different. But I think coming down with OG, it's almost like, because even, all right, let's say we make both free throws. Right? Let's say we foul with 10 seconds left. We make both free throws. It's 3-point game again. And now it's not like they have a timeout. There's a lot of factors. Like, I want there to be less time on the clock if you're going to foul. I want the team to have no timeouts. Because if the team has a timeout, they're able to just call a timeout, come out of a halftime, come out of a huddle, draw up an ATO, and get the exact shot they want, rather than them coming down one-on-one against our best defender, who has done a great job all night and unfortunately just got beat on that play. But, I think a lot of me wanting not to foul comes with 1, the time, 2, how I feel about fouling up 3 anyway, and 3, my confidence in OG Anunoby as a defender.
Yeah, good points. Good points by you, man. So to everybody in the chat once again, CP the Fanchise, I Hate Sean in the building. This is another KFTV and Bleacher Report simulcast. Okay, so we put the bow on it. And look, the reality is that they are now 0-7 against the top of the East and 0-9 against when you factor in the Thunder, and like another 9-16 against top 10 defenses. So that is the reality. Now, earlier today, sources had told Knicks Fan TV that the way that the Knicks are going to approach these next 3 games is that they're going to be resting players. They're going to be resting players, and it's not just going to be the block nest monster, Mitchell Robinson, on the second night of back-to-backs. And this was under consideration for a while now, even when Brunson was on the way back. Like, they were ultimately going to get to a point in this season where they're going to start resting guys. So now, when we look at the standings, we talk about the schedule first. They have Detroit on Thursday, back-to-back against Cleveland at home on Friday, and then they finish the season on Sunday at Brooklyn. They are, when you look at the 4-5 matchup, Indiana's got 4 right now, but they're 2 games in back of the Knicks with 2 games against Cleveland and a game against the Orlando Magic. The Milwaukee Bucks are sitting there at 5th, who have now a 2-game lead over the Detroit Pistons, who sit in 6th. The Bucks with a come-from-behind win over the Timberwolves with a big win last night. So, with this new strategy of rest, I'm putting the tinfoil kufi on and saying, could this be a potential chess move play to see both the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round and ultimately the Cleveland Cavaliers in the second round? Your thoughts? So,
personally, I would be very disappointed if that was the case. I'm a firm believer, scare money don't make no money, and I think that would be very different from how we are. I remember last year there were teams trying to avoid the 2 seed because they didn't want to play the Sixers in a play-in, and we were the exact opposite of that. And I think those teams kind of pay for that in the long run. I think it's just disrespectful to basketball in itself. It's disrespectful to competition, and I think it's a show of weakness. I would love to play the Bucks. I think we swept the Bucks. I fully expect to beat the Bucks, but I also fully expect to beat the Pistons. And I do think that we don't necessarily have anything to play for at this point because we're ready and prepared for any opponent. So I think that it does make sense to rest guys if possible, especially just off of the PTSD of having a playoff run with half the team being out last year. So I don't mind sitting guys down, letting guys get rest going into the time. You know, we got Jalen back now. Let him get his feet wet. Let him get his, I think, what needs 2 more games for All-NBA consideration. And so let him do what he's got to do there.
2 out of 3. 2 out of this next 3.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. So, I mean, let him get his All-NBA thing. But otherwise, and plus, you know, with 1 game left against the Brooklyn, all we have to do is either win 1 or Indiana has to lose 1 and we're secured at 3. And I think we could sit the entire team and beat the Nets. So I think that regardless, we're going to end up in that 3 seed. But I would be disappointed if it was a chess move to avoid and try to play different teams. I mean, just, you know, if you're not ready to play the Cavs, and I mean, if you're not ready to play the Celtics, and you're not ready to play the Cavs, like we have to be the best version of ourselves, as opposed to, you know, who we're going to end up with. And I personally, I wanted it to be the Bucks because I know we'll sweep them. And just as a basketball fan, I think the NBA needs that Pacers Pistons. And I feel like that would have been a series where I know who's going to win. But I mean, when the Pacers play the Bucks, I expect the Pacers to win. When we play the Pistons, I expect us to win. So it would have been interesting to have that series to see how it could go. But as far as us, I think just, you know, get some rest, let guys go into the playoffs being, you know, rested. Make sure you don't want game 81 to be the game that a guy goes down if he's been playing a lot of minutes all season. So, but yeah, I'd be very disappointed if it was to try to avoid matchups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That would just be nasty. What do you think?
I think the 3 guys who I would pencil in for mandatory rest, Josh Hart, number 1. He just played 48 minutes last night. Then Karl-Anthony Towns with the knee tendonitis definitely needs rest. Because, look, they're still going to have a week off before game 1, ideally a week. I think Karl-Anthony Towns needs as much rest as he can get. I think the dog, even though he's hot right now, you don't necessarily want to cool him off. I would just put him in bubble wrap until we get to game 1 just to make sure that he is the freshest version of himself, or as fresh as he can be. So those are the 3 guys who I would really like to see get rest. I think the captain will get Jalen Brunson. I think he'll, you know, one of these 2 on the back-to-backs, maybe tomorrow, then skip Cleveland, and then wrap it up against the Nets, maybe in limited minutes. But he'll need those 2 games. He'll need 2 out of the 3 games anyway for the All-NBA consideration. So on one hand, it's not a bad idea at all to get these guys as much rest as you can, especially your important starters. And then, look, man, on the other hand, they have nothing to lose by slipping to 4. I would say that. They have nothing to lose by slipping into 4. They still get the home court. You get a more favorable matchup. Like, you don't want to look past anybody. But the reality is that they do match up better against the Bucks versus a more physical series against the Pistons. And then you potentially see a Cleveland team in the second round who, although they are the darlings of the East, have a lot of demons to exercise and are not playing the best version, or they're not the best version of themselves as that team that started off the year and even in the middle parts of the year when they were damn near unstoppable. They got guys struggling. Darius Garland struggling. Donovan Mitchell with the ankle injury. They're not as good shooting as they were coming into the season. There is an opportunity here to get to the Eastern Conference Finals where, hey, you don't know what type of 2 rounds the Celtics are getting into. How does Jaylen Brown come out of that with the knee? It could be interesting. That's all I'm saying. I'm not a guy who, you know, we don't duck any smoke here in New York. I get that. But it could be interesting if it were to play out that way and they get the 4 seed. But I'm with you, though. Like, I mean, they would have to literally be just bring up the G League team to lose to the Nets on Sunday. But,
and I don't know. Tyler Kolek and Pacone might give the Nets a run for their money.
Hey,
Kevin McCullough.
Yeah, they just might, man. So I think bottom line priority should be the rest, and I'm happy that they are choosing to rest these guys.
Yes, I mean, you know, we asked for that, right? Like, we asked for Tibbs to be more adaptable and to prioritize, you know, taking care of the players and things like that. And so, you know, sometimes it's important to be, you know, grateful for the things we asked for.
Yeah, no question about it. What do you guys think in the chat, man? The Knicks resting players, is this a necessity, or is this strategic? Is something bigger at play here? Let us know your thoughts, man. CB the Fanchise, Sean Getty's in the building. Salute to everybody watching on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course on Bleacher Report. Let me just see here. What else do I have here? Real quick, you know what? Another topic that we spoke on yesterday was the firing of Mike Malone. What'd you think about that one?
That was really wild to me. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there has to be more to the story. Because even if you're not feeling the greatest about his coaching and things like that, I just feel like firing your coach the week before the playoffs isn't the brightest move. And I feel like, not that winning a championship gets you like a clean slate to do whatever, but I feel like it deserves a little bit more respect than that. Like, if you win a championship less than 2 calendar years ago to the day, I feel like you should get a little bit more respect than getting fired right before the playoffs. So between that and then them also, giving the GM the axe, I just feel like there has to be something going on over there, and who knows what it is. But do you think it's possible? I know the Grizzlies did it too, so I mean, cool. But I feel like the Grizzlies and the Nuggets are in a different situation. Like, Mike Malone just won a championship less than 2 years ago. They also, their front office didn't bring back KCP. I feel like there's some responsibility on everybody's part, but I also know that there may be Nuggets fans who feel like that was a necessary move. But I can't call it. It's just strange to me. It's very unprecedented. What were your thoughts?
Absolutely unprecedented, but seems like in both situations there was turmoil in terms of direction, in terms of play style when it comes to the Grizzlies, and players as it relates to the Nuggets. And so it just seems like both ownership, because Josh Kroenke met with Nuggets media today and said they were going to make this move anyway. So the writing was already on the wall for them. And hey, maybe Mike Malone said, "Hey man, you're going to fire me? Might as well just do it now. I'm not going to put in why put in all the work when my fate is already sealed." So maybe Mike Malone was like, "Hey, you know what? I'm not just going to be some super lame duck coach here. Team stinks. You guys left me with Russell Westbrook. I'm out of here." Man said,
that's a crazy rush trade.
Shout out to Brody, man. Call back anytime. Shout out to Brody, man. So, yeah, no, it's just interesting. Would you choose Michael Malone for the New York Knicks?
So I believe that Tom Thibodeau has his warts, and they're kind of frustrating at times. And I also acknowledge all the good that he's done for sure. I think that sometimes late game adjustment, rotation wise, things like that, there's a lot of places where he can improve. However, I do not think that Mike Malone would necessarily be the answer. I think I think for a lot of things that we complain about, or the people that do complain about Tom Thibodeau, I think a lot of those same complaints would apply to Michael Malone. And you don't want to just take when the coach gets fired right before the playoffs, there's a reason the coach got fired right before the playoffs. You got to be hesitant of picking up. I know one man's trash is another man's treasure, but sometimes one man's trash is just another man's trash too. Like, it's called recycling. So,
yo, that's a bar right there, man. Real talk. That's real talk. So we'll see what happens, But now you got Taylor Jenkins, you got Mike Malone out there. Tibbs, you got to make them adjustments, man. I'm just saying, your man's is out here getting clipped left and right. Let's not talk. Let the game do the talking. No, you got to do the talking and make sure that the players do the walking, especially in these playoffs when the opportunity presents itself. So
we can't lose games on the margins in the playoffs. That'll be an issue for me.
That will certainly be. So we'll see what happens there. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. CP and Sean in the building on the ones and twos. I'm going to shout out one of our sponsors of today's show, and that is DraftKings Sportsbook, man. Who's scoring big in the NBA this season? You are, with all the new ways to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. From Monster Slams to dishing the rock to cleaning the glass, get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of the NBA player props. Now, right now, because it's not clear who the Knicks are going to be trotting out there tomorrow against Detroit. I know the lines are not available just yet, and I'm looking for the props on DraftKings, and I don't see it at the moment. So these things can change once the lineups are announced. I think we will get more of that. But for right now, they are not available on DraftKings. But you can check it out on the DraftKings Sportsbook app as well as DraftKingsSportsbook.com. And for new customers, for you first-timers, use our code KFTV, bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. And that is, once again, with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I think I froze here. I think I froze.
Okay, I thought I was tripping.
No, they you. It's the excitement of DraftKings. Hang on. Okay, there we go. All right, I'll reset that. That's just a little Zoom glitch. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-878-97777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly, and remember that it's 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario, and bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. Okay, let me see if let's do a little fix up here. Fix up.
There you go.
All right. Hang on. So to everybody in the chat, let me just get this here. It's a weird Zoom glitch here where if you do like a hand signal, it puts up like an emoji. Okay, here we go. All right, we live and direct here. So yeah, it puts up like this weird.
Zoom and just telling everybody to hit that thumbs up button.
You do it. So yeah, I'll do it in the chat, so I don't gotta do it. All right, here we go. We back up and running now. Back up and smooth. Okay, there we go. All right, just a little, technicalities thing here. All right, what else do we want to get into? Okay, let's get into worst take. This was a big one during last night's Pistons versus, last night's Celtics versus Knicks matchup. So, on this episode of Worst Take, and let me just preface this. Oh, did I freeze again, man?
You made a hand gesture, and it's a thumb low key. That's a wild glitch.
Yeah, it's a wild glitch, man. Hang on. What's going on here, man? Okay, there we go. Oh, now we got two of us. Okay, all right. We'll take it from the top here. We'll cut this out of the podcast. On this segment of Worst Take, where we go around the NBA podcast sphere reacting to sound bites about the orange and blue, Shaquille O'Neal makes a bold take about the New York Knicks. So, Sean, I'm going to play this for you, and then we're going to react to it on the other side. Here is Shaquille O'Neal. Here we go.
He is going to have to play this way if the Knicks want to at least advance to the second round, but I don't think they're good enough to advance to the second round. That should be personal.
Probably not.
So you'd have them losing to Detroit?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Cade? Hell yeah. Isaiah Stewart? Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Your thoughts?
Come on, man. Look, I know that a lot of what they do up there on Inside the NBA is comedy over basketball, but even at some point, we still got to be a little bit serious. And I just think this is very unserious commentary. I think if you're going to say, oh yeah, and the second name you're going to say is Isaiah Stewart, like that speaks volumes. Like, oh yeah, Cade, Isaiah Stewart, bro. This isn't a boxing match. Like, this isn't MMA. We have no fear of Isaiah Stewart on this side. Isaiah Stewart trumps Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. And Isaiah Stewart doesn't even trump Josh Hart. So it's just, for that to be your rationale as to, why the Pistons are going to beat the Knicks for sure. I think that if we were in a playoff series against the Guangdong Tigers, Shaq would still pick the Guangdong Tigers because he just hates the Knicks vehemently for whatever reason. I'm not really sure what it is. But any chance he ever gets to get some hate off, he's most certainly going to do so. And I put that I have a receipts folder in my bookmarks on Twitter. And I put that in my receipts folder. I'll be back to that because you don't even believe that, but I'm gonna make you eat those words.
It's disappointing, man. It's very disappointing. Like, I believe that on NBA media, you can be both analytical and entertaining at the same time. It's not an either or thing. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. It's very disappointing that a legend like Shaq, let's keep it real. I mean, when he was in his dominance in his heyday, easily one of my favorite players. We had never seen anything like that as far as a physical force. It's unfortunate that a player like this cannot be analytical about the game and be an ambassador about the game without coming off as an absolute hater, man. It's nasty work, as the kids would say. Like, he just says, "Oh, Cade, what about it?" You know what? I would appreciate it more if he gave a solid couple takes. Here's why I believe the Pistons can legitimately upset the Knicks. It's just like, Udonis Haslem in the NBA today. No reasoning. Just saying, oh, they're tough. They're tough. Give me reasons. Give me X's and O's. What does Cade do to make his team better that can upset a strong Knick team, especially in their front five? So without that context, this take is complete babble. However, I do believe that the Knicks can beat the Pistons and will beat the Pistons in the first round because I believe their starting five is too strong. In the playoffs is about the star power. If Brunson and Towns are going into that thing at full strength, plus McCall and OG Deuce, their offense is going to be able to overpower the Pistons. Additionally, despite the Knicks' defensive woes at times, I don't look at the Pistons as a team like the Celtics where if they're able to fire away from three, the Knicks are going to be at a strong disadvantage. I think the Knicks will be able to contain some of the Pistons shooters. Yes, Beasley's having a great year. Timmy's done some things, and Tobias Harris as well. But the one thing I can go to in crunch time is I can put OG Anunoby on Cade Cunningham, and I know that while you can't stop everybody in this league, you will make it highly, highly difficult. And if he's able to contain or cut off the head of the snake, that's all you need right there from a Knicks standpoint. I don't think the Pistons have enough talent and star power to beat the Knicks in a 7-game series. That's my take.
I don't think they do, and it's their first time here. And, there's the Jalen Brunson effect. Like, you're talking about Cade. Cade is great, but we haven't seen it on a playoff stage, and Shaq would normally be the first person to say something like that. Shaq would normally be the first person to talk about what you've got to prove in the playoffs. And so I also hate just the inconsistency of people's position. Like, what do you really stand on? Because, Jalen Brunson in a 7-game series is going to give them something they've never dealt with before. And then, they got Asar Thompson on the floor, who's a non-shooter, giving Tom Thibodeau the ability to scheme off a non-shooter and how he's going to attack Cade Cunningham with OG cutting off the head of the snake, like you said. They're in for a world of hurt, honestly. And the Pistons are a good team, and they played us well.
There's no disrespect to them.
I don't take that. Yeah, I don't take that away from them. They're a good team. They've played us well, but I just don't think they're ready for it yet, and I think we're going to show that.
No disrespect whatsoever. So that is what I would say to Shaq, who admitted the other day that he doesn't even watch Pistons games, and then said that, what did he say, Chauncey Billups is doing a good job over there? Is that what he said? So talk about a guy that's clueless in terms of what's going on in the league, and his counter to everything is, I got the rings, I'm a Hall of Famer, who cares what you think? And I just think it's unfortunate, man. It's part of the reason why they're having issues in certain respects in garnering more interest in the NBA, especially during the regular season, is because these guys who are in prominent roles in the national media are taking a crap on it every Tuesday and Thursday. Either
Really?
Candace Parker ain't watching, Shaq ain't watching. VC will put in his input here and there. Like I said, the fact that Jamal Crawford is on a bench somewhere just waiting to go to NBC is ridiculous because he's one of the best out there. It's just unfortunate. It's entertainment over analysis, Stephen A and all of that, a whole nother ball game. It's just unfortunate, bro.
Amazon is coming to save the day. Shout out Taylor Rooks. Shout out Blake Griffin, Dirk Nowitzki. Looking forward to seeing how the angle they come at this from because they see what's missing, they see what's needed, and they're going to be able to fill that void in the way that's necessary.
Shout out to Taylor Rooks for sure, doing the damn thing. You know who is a guy who has a heavy ego, but is a great ambassador of the sport? You know who I look at in that regard, bro? I look at Magic like that. Magic, if you had a dinner table with Magic, and his peers, he will tell you that he is, without question, the best point guard that ever lived. When Magic goes on TV, he will give praise where it is due to all the younger generation, to the current hot topic. He will heap the praise, whether that's on the college level or on the pro level, right? But behind closed doors, he's like, yo, they ain't messing with me. You know what I'm saying? They not messing with me. And hey, to a certain extent, certain generations, they'll tell you he's probably right. But
and honestly, that's how it should be. Like, that's how it should. You shouldn't have to champion yourself by pushing everyone else down. Like, if you're really that high, you don't have to push everybody else down, because of where you actually are. You can just appreciate the game and uplift people. And Magic does a great job of that. Sometimes there's a lot of jokes on him for him stating the obvious, but like, he does it in a way that appreciates and shines a good light on the game. And like you said, like, the other guys get up there and kind of take a crap on the product, and everybody's wondering, oh, why is the NBA being covered in this way, or why is it being looked at this way? And it's just because, well, the vessel that most people have to it is national TV in their living room, and you got TNT crapping on the game, you got ESPN making everything about everything but basketball. Like, we got LeBron out here breaking records, you got Steph Curry having record-breaking performances, and they get on ESPN the next day and talk about everything but that, and talk about it's just the way the game is covered is lazy and very clickbaity. And I just look forward to and appreciate and champion the people who make an effort to actually cover the game and to actually shed light on it. And that's why you're a beacon of light to the community and to the basketball community in itself, man. Like, you're needed. You're needed. Like, we need the voices who are going to actually lead with the love of the game rather than like a love of hearing their own voice.
Like, listen, his whole thing, his two common things, I got the rings and they're not as dominant as me. The big man's not dominating, the big man's not dominating. He went on his podcast the other day, Big Shaq podcast, these guys are trash. This guy, is robbing people. Look, I think some of the criticism is certainly valid, but like, break it down. Why is this so? Why is this guy not as good? What are you seeing there? What would you do differently? I just think there's more that he could do with his platform, and he's just pretty much useless at this point. But hey, Shaq the player was great. Shaq the analyst is a hot mess. So that's
shout out to Shaq the businessman, man. He's still getting it regardless of what we think. He's
fantastic. He's great, man. Absolutely. So anyway, man, that's our version of Worst Take. Leave us some comments in the comment section, and we will shout you guys out. All right, Sean, man. Great show. Let the people know where they can find you, man.
Always a pleasure to be here again. So you can find me on KFTV sometimes. You feel me? It's always a pleasure. You can find me at I Hate Sean. I Hate SHAUN on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. You can find me at I'mPossibleOP.com. 10% off. You get multiple items. And you can find me at the Garden for the playoffs. Hopefully, I hope to make my way up to New York. It's playoff time, so we gotta lock in. I'm playoff Sean right now. I'm in that mode. We get to after Sunday. It's literally time for the playoffs. Right now, we got some playoff matchups between the Pistons, the Cavaliers, still left on the regular season schedule. So I'm just ready to go. So
yes,
thank
sir.
you for having me, CP. Always an honor to be here, and always eager to come back for next time.
Yes, sir. We'll catch up, man. Great job as usual. I'll see you playoff time if you're out here, and if not, you can definitely be back on the show, man. So we'll catch up, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. That was our guy, I Hate Sean, in the building. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to Sean, man. Great guest. Who else you guys want to see on the show? As we talk about playoff time, we talk about money time. Who else do you guys want to see on the show, man? Let us know your thoughts, and we'll reach out. We'll do our best. I'm going to hit up Big Perk, see if Big Perk can get back on the show. He's a very busy guy. But I'll put the word out there for Big Perk and see if he can join us. Well, let us know, man. If you have any requests, let us know in the comment section. Also, while we are here, I want to shout out another sponsor of tonight's show, man. Shout out to the good people over at Skims. Shout out to Skims, man. The official underwear partner of the NBA, the WNBA, and hey, Knicks Fan TV as well. Shout out to Kim K and the good people over there at Skims. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and make sure you check out the Skims men's and women's line. As I said, they are the official underwear partner of the NBA, but also in addition to men's clothing, have a lot of women's clothing as well. But in the men's department, hey, a lot of athletic wear, boxers and briefs, tees and tanks, as you see, hoodies and sweatshirts, loungewear, lots of apparel for today's man. And what I particularly rock with at Skims is the 5-inch boxer briefs. Comfortable, stylish, quality material. Doesn't ride up on you like the cheaper boxer briefs. No, this is real quality stuff here. And they did send me a couple pairs to try on, and I actually rock with it. I'm a boxers guy, but the briefs are definitely dope. So definitely check it out on skims.com. And if you do make a purchase, they will send you a post-purchase survey. Or if you go to the flagship store, those of you that are New Yorkers, you go to the flagship store on 5th Avenue here in New York, they will send you a post-purchase survey asking you how you found out about the company, about Skims. You just click on podcast and you click on Knicks Fan TV. Let them know the good people at Knicks Fan TV sent you there. Okay? So shout out to our friends at Skims. All right, man. Great show. Great show last night. Those of you that are Sirius XM subscribers, I was on earlier today with Rob Perez. Did a 1 to 4. This is my doubleheader, and I'm tired. So tonight we will have Alex will be hosting Game of the Week preview, Knicks versus Pistons. So we'll talk about that. And that's the story, man. Salute to the Replay Gang. Salute to our Fanchise channel members. Let me see. We did get a super chat in here. Blood of the Panther. $5 super chat says Knicks in 4. Doesn't matter who in the first round. Okay. Salute to you, man. I'm with you, man. Let's get it going. And salute to the Replay Gang. Also remember that these shows are available in audio podcast format, so no reason to miss it. You can catch it on all podcast platforms. All right, so we'll see you guys later on, man. Peace. Like, share.